Hi Mountain Road Cougar family. Welcome to our virtual curriculum night. I'm Ms. Roulier, your principal,
And I'm Ms. Etheridge, your assistant principal.
and we wanted to share a little information with you about our school and about ways you can stay informed. This year, we have 381 students, and 112 of those students are digital. So we're about 29% of students that have chosen the digital model. At Mountain Road, we use a positive behavior intervention program called Cougar Pride. We teach our students 5 main character traits. P, patience. R, respect. I, integrity. D, determination. And E, excellence. These are 5 character traits that teachers teach students and we use within our building to hold our students to a high standard of character excellence. Some ways that we hope that you will stay informed about what's going on at our school. If you haven't already, we hope you will join our PTA. We have an amazing PTA board. Our president is Ms. Heather Crackey, and she has lots of amazing women helping on the PTA board. So visit mrepta.org to join and find out all the ways you can support our PTA. I also have a remind for each grade level. If you have not already, please join the remind. I use this to send out quick updates and reminders. For example, if we have bus changes, or reminders about picture day or anything like that that comes up. That's what we use Remind for. The links to join each individual grade level Remind was sent out in an email at the beginning of the year, and your child's teacher also has that information. So just reach out and they will let you know how to join Remind. We also send periodic emails through Aspen. So if you're not receiving those, you might want to check your email account to make sure that you're receiving emails from aspen.notifications@cherokeek12.net. Sometimes these emails, if you have accounts like a Gmail or Hotmail, sometimes these emails will be filtered into your junk or your spam. So if you have not been receiving emails from me, it's probably because they're in your spam or your junk. So please check that and make sure you're receiving these emails. If it's not in your junk and you're not receiving them, it's possible that your email is incorrect in Aspen, and you can go into the Back to School Gateway and update that information. We also hope that you're following us on Facebook at facebook.com Mountain Road ES. Make sure you're following Mountain Road Elementary School Facebook account, but also join our MRES or our Mountain Road PTA Facebook as well. We use Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter at MRES Cougars. We post lots of updates there, and also on Instagram at MRES Cougars. We also would like to share how we recognize students throughout the year. This year being a little bit different without some of our typical processes like the morning news. That's on hold for right now thanks to COVID. So we have been having a pledge leader every morning to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance when we do morning announcements. And that child, that student is recognized on our social media platforms every morning. We also are beginning to recognize Students of the Month. Teachers highlight a student from their class each month who is exhibiting those Cougar Pride expectations, and we will recognize those students on social media, and those students will actually become our pledge leaders as we move forward beginning the 1st of September. We realize that our digital students are not in the building to be able to participate in our morning Pledge of Allegiance and things like that. And that some of our students have teachers who are not Mountain Road teachers, but a teacher in one of the other Sequoia Innovation Zone schools. And so the Sequoia Zone principals have all gotten together and come up with a plan so that we can recognize our digital learners too, and So we will be recognizing a digital learning student of the month for the Sequoia Innovation Zone each month beginning in September. And those students will be recognized on each of our individual schools' social media accounts. I think one other thing that we do recognize our students at the district level. Our district highlights Students of the Day every day, and they highlight those students on CCSD social media. And so we do nominate students to represent Mountain Road and CCSD as Students of the Day. We have submitted our first student for that, and once we find out when they will be recognized, the parent will be notified so that you can see your students' recognition. And that's all from us. We hope you get as much information as you need from the rest of the slideshow from your teacher. If you have questions or concerns, as always, please let us know. We're always here to help.
Hey there, 5th grade virtual fam. I'm so excited to show you what we've got going on for our virtual curriculum night this year. Let's go ahead and get started. So I've posted this on Canvas before. This is going to be our schedule for the entire year. So your student is required to log into Teams at 7:45 each morning for attendance. They're required to log back in for ELA at 9:30, and they're required to log back in for science or social studies at 11:45. And I will let you know going forward who I need for small groups on each day. So please stay tuned for that schedule. So for our 5th grade rules and procedures, I want to let you know a little bit more about my organization, my classroom management, and positive reinforcement. So we've been using class notebooks. This is a separate app that we use on Office 365, and we link it through Canvas. This is where I have them put informal writing, morning meetings, notes, and assignments. For Canvas daily assignments, each subject area has these, and it's labeled by the day. The only subject that might not have a daily assignment is science or social studies, depending on which one we're working on at the moment. We don't alternate every other day. We do it in units. So we will have 1 week of science or 1 week of social studies. We might have 2 weeks of science or 2 weeks of social studies, depending on how big the unit is. My Canvas instruction is flipped instruction, which means that I pre-record most of my lessons. This is because we have a lot of internet issues, as you probably have noticed on our live sessions. And so I want to make sure that everybody has the ability to pause and play at their own pace. And so going forward throughout the year, my hope is to continue to do flipped instruction. And another thing I wanted to let you know about is please check the course calendar for due dates. That tells you exactly what's due and exactly what it is. You can click on the link in the course calendar and it tells you what the assignment requirements are. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. For our behavior plan in the virtual 5th grade classroom, we use a behavior wheel for our positive behavior. Anytime a student goes above and beyond the expectations, their name is added for a spin on Friday, and a list of incentives can be found on the next slide, and it's also found in the homeroom virtual behavior card. For our negative behavior or behavior infractions, your child can lose points for anything covered in the CCSD Discipline Handbook. In our virtual classroom, we went over this on the first week of school. That is attached to this email that if you want to look over that with your child, you're more than welcome to again. These infractions can be found with a comment on homeroom virtual behavior card, and the scale of point loss is there as well, and it's also on the next coming slides. So this is what it looks like whenever you go into your Canvas account and you click on the assignment for homeroom. This does not count against their academics at all. It just has to do with their behavior, and whenever it comes time for report cards, I will use this to give your child a U, which is unsatisfactory, an N, which means needs work or needs improvement, and an S, which means satisfactory. So those point values are there. If it's a first offense, it's just 1 point, but if it's a repeat offense, it's -2, and then a third, it's -3, and so on and so forth. Hopefully we won't have a so on and so forth situation though, because your child will only need to be told 1 time, right? It's okay. We're still learning in the first quarter. I'm pretty lenient, but if it becomes an issue of disruption and affecting the learning of other children, then it might become more of a second and third offense issue. And here are the positive weekly virtual reward choices. So we've spun the wheel twice so far, and I picked 2 students per week, and they have these choices to pick from. I think we've had one student pick to call me by my first name for a day, and that was interesting. We had another student pick my team's background. Another student did show and tell, and then today we had a student, we played a Mulan Kahoot, and that was awesome. So they're welcome to pick any of these, and I pick 2 new people each week. It could be the same person, depending on how many times their name is on the wheel and how many times they go above and beyond. Their name can be drawn more than one time. Social emotional learning in my virtual classroom looks a little different than it would in my physical classroom, but I think it's very important. So I think it's important for you all to know that I teach to the whole child in my classroom. We have morning meetings almost every day. If we don't, it's usually due to internet issues or we're doing something different for that morning. So we have them at 7:45. That allows us to log in and take attendance and make sure we're all where we need to be. These morning meetings, they work on those while we do attendance, and they're in their class notebook. And if you look on their tab where it has all the subject areas, morning meetings is its own section. And so on Mondays we talk about manners. Tuesday we talk about the positive people in our life. We write nice things about them. Wednesday we talk about the things that we feel like we're good at and that we're winning at. Thursday, it's what's on our mind. That could be anything from macaroni and cheese to I'm getting a dog tomorrow. Anything that's on their mind that's appropriate for school. And then Friday, it's Feelings Friday. The kids talk about their pits and their peaks, their highs and their lows, and we share out on an optional basis. So I am never going to force anybody to share out that type of information because it should be optional because it's their emotions and they should want to share that. I'm a pretty flexible person overall, so just let me know if you're running late to a live meeting or you're going somewhere and won't be able to attend, your internet's being weird. Just email me or call the school, especially if it's in the morning because I take attendance the first 15 minutes that they log in at 7:45. So if you can't get onto the live meeting, by 8 o'clock I'm probably going to count your child absent, so please make sure that you call the school and let them know and they'll let me know. And that school number is 770-721-8520. And then some real talk. So this is for both parents and students. I would rather you tell me everything that's on your mind than keep me guessing. And the weekly surveys truly help me reflect on my pedagogical methods and help me and you stay on the same page. It'll improve the way that class is done. In the surveys so far, I've had parents comment on, we need more collaborative activities, or I've had students say, I wish you would slow down when you talk, and that really does help me be a better teacher. So be on the lookout for those surveys that come to you every Friday. I try to keep them below 3 questions because I know you have busy things going on in your lives, but that would really, really help me as your child's teacher if you would fill out those surveys. So for math this year in the virtual classroom, we have math first thing in the morning. Your child is responsible for 45 minutes of iReady per week, and I give them time daily, almost every day, to work on this. If they finish 45 minutes of iReady by the end of the week, then I add their name to the behavior wheel. And last week we had quite a few names added to that wheel. It was almost the whole class. If we can have everybody's name added to the wheel, then I might have it double. So we'll see if we can reach that goal. For homework, I've had this question before. Technically, all the work that you're doing is homework, but I only assign extra practice before a test, and we are very far from a test. Unit 1 in math takes almost the first quarter, so that's about 9 weeks. So we won't have homework until the week leading up to our test, and that's a cumulative review on what we've learned the entire quarter for that unit. And so those 5 problems will be gone over each morning as a warm-up. You can find your child's interactive notebook on Canvas and Class Notebook, and it's labeled by lesson. In the lesson quizzes, those are over the material that we've learned for the week, and it focuses on one chunk at a time, and you can find those dates on the course calendar. And as always, check Canvas for notes, videos, and assignments for math. Our math units in 5th grade, there's quite a lot. We talk about the order of operations in whole numbers, adding and subtracting with decimals, multiplying and dividing with decimals, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions, 2D figures, volume and measurement, geometry, and the coordinate plane. So we are almost to this section right over here, where we're adding and subtracting with decimals, and then we move on to these operations. That's part of Unit 1. That's where we are right now. For social studies, I'm not going to talk about all the subpoints, but right now we have already finished these two. And then next week, we're going to start these two. Unit 1 for social studies, the citizenship, business, and government, is pretty large. So I broke that up into 2 units, or 2 mini units. After that, the changing nation. And then we talk about World War I in the 1920s, the Great Depression and the New Deal, World War II, the Cold War and the rise of communism, the Civil Rights Movement, the U.S. from 1975 to now, and building a budget. So we cover quite a lot of material, and I wanted to make sure you knew that we do cover some pretty traumatic material. So I'll make sure to give you and your kids a forewarning before we cover any topics that might cause a little bit of stress. So I will keep you posted as those times come. For science, we just finished constructive and destructive forces, and that's for Unit 1. Unit 2 is dynamics of classification and dichotomy, genetics. Unit 3 is cells and microorganisms. Unit 4 is energy transfer through electricity and magnetism. And Unit 5 is physical and chemical changes, which kind of ties into constructive and destructive forces. And last, but for reading language arts, we use Scholastic Guided Reading, which is what I'd use for guided reading groups, where your students are in a small group and they read books together. And we talk about some reading skills and maybe some things to notice while they read to help them become better readers. For writing, we use the rigorous curriculum design, and that is a Cherokee County curriculum incentive. And that is something that is supposed to be rigorous and relevant to what the students are learning in 5th grade, but also to the community. We are in Unit 1 right now, and Unit 1 for RCD is theme. It's also descriptive writing. So we are going to have a fun time talking about descriptive writing this quarter. Unit 2 is compare contrast. Unit 3 is evidence. Unit 4 is a review unit. I didn't include it because we review at the very end. Analyze and integrate, and then a 5th grade culmination. That's essentially, if we needed more time, we could expand into that unit. And we write with the 3 types of writing, and that's narrative, persuasive, and informational. And we use read alouds every single day, and I pull questions from there for comprehension, and I try my best to record my own read alouds because I think it's important for your students to hear me read it. But if I'm ever in a jam, I might find a pre-recorded YouTube video of the read aloud, but we use read alouds every single day. For Canvas, please email me and let me know if you need help. We have almost 100% of our parents participating on Canvas. Since your child is virtual, it is imperative that you log into Canvas. That's where I have behavior communication for you. That's where you can see your child's grades and see if they're behind on things. So if you haven't already joined Canvas, please go ahead and do that. I'm going to attach some links to this PowerPoint as well as to the email to make sure that you understand exactly how to do that. As far as submitting assignments and navigating Canvas, I have tutorials and homeroom announcements if you're having issues with the system. So if you're looking for how to submit an assignment or where to find certain information, I have those on homeroom announcements. And if you still can't find it, email me and I'll send you the tutorial and we can talk about it. This is how you make an account. I'm going to skip over this because you can look at it on your own time, but these are the steps. And then I even have all the links. And there's a Spanish option as well if you or your child would like that as an option. Okay, thank you for coming. Once you're done watching the video, please open the PowerPoint and click for an optional parent conference sign up next week. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.